Good morning, everybody. Matt Modar here to give you my favorite MLB home run predictions for today. We are talking Tuesday, June 24th. Happy Dinger Tuesday, everybody. The Dong Report is back in your life, and I'm going to have three home run picks for you guys to lock in for today's MLB betting slate. You know, the last couple days I've had a lot of success going with a bigger volume of plays, just lowering the unit size. I didn't really like the home run slate for today, so instead of just trying to find 7 to 10 guys just for the sake of spraying the board, I decided to play a little bit safer today. So only 3 guys on today's Dong Report, but I do like these 3 guys specifically, so I don't feel as though I am forcing anything for these 3. We're going to talk about all that, but before we do, let's do a recap from yesterday, which was another good day. You know, we've had a pretty nice run over the last couple days. We got 4 of my 7 guys to hit a home run. Eugenio Suarez was pretty brutal. He got hit by a pitch in his first at-bat, and then he left the game. So never had a chance on that one. Some sports books did void him. So depending on what book you played him, you were able to get that voided. I'm not going to, in terms of my record, I'm going to count it as a loss because FanDuel counted it as a loss, and it would be unfair to do anything otherwise. But the good news is we still had a very, very good day. Ketel Marte, Juan Soto, Manny Machado, and James Wood. All 4 of them came through with home runs. Nothing from Jackson Merrill, but he had a good day at the plate. Nothing from Roman Anthony as well. But a very good day overall. We were up 1.4 units on the Dong Report yesterday. So you take into account Saturday along with today, or I guess along with yesterday's recap, we're up about 3 units over the last 3 days. So it's been pretty good recently. And we needed it because it had been rough prior to that. We're slowly working our way back to green on the year. I'm very confident we'll get there. Let's hope by the end of June. That would be amazing if we could get there by the end of June. But to be consistent on the entire season, down 3.84 units, down a little bit less than 4%, a little bit less than 5% ROI. And then if you're putting 1 unit on every single one, you're slightly in the green just because of how the odds worked out. But yeah, it's been good recently. In terms of today, looking at the weather, looking at the pitching situation, it's not a great slate for weather. If you just look at weather only, there are only 2 games above 10% according to Ballpark Pal. And then you look at Weather Edge, there are some games that are tracked as a little bit better than Ballpark Pal has it, but I don't think that they've really run their model yet because they have this Reds game as almost minus 30%. Even though the temperatures are in the 90s and it's slight winds blowing out. So I don't think this is accurate. So I'm taking everything on Weather Edge with a grain of salt. Sometimes they don't update their model first thing in the morning when I record these. So either way, not a great weather day. Like even Coors, it's cold in Coors. It's in the 70s and the mid 60s. And a lot of these games with hot temperatures, which you would think, okay, this is going to be really good hitting weather. There's high barometric pressure, which is bad for carry, which cancels out a lot of the goodwill we get from the weather. So it's not a terrible day. It just wasn't quite as good as the last couple of days have been, and it wasn't good enough for me to want to spray the board. But the 3 guys that I do have, I do like a lot, and we can talk about them. So number 1, Byron Buxton. We are taking him to hit a home run. He is best offered at plus 360 odds, both at FanDuel and at Bet365. So whether you want to get you can get 350 both at FanDuel and Bet365. So the thing with Buxton, he is absolutely on fire. You look at over the last 7 days. We're just looking at every single hitter in the MLB over the last 7 days. Now, Wood's incredible. He's got 7 barrels. But then Buxton is one of 5 batters that has 6 or more barrels over the last 7 days. Really, really impressive stuff for Buxton. You look at the last 2 weeks, and it's still really good. For Buxton, he's one of 5 batters with 8 or more barrels. He's got 21 hard hits over the last 2 weeks. So really good numbers for Buxton. And you go through his game log, and it really is just incredibly impressive. I mean, yesterday, he only had 1 hard hit, but it was above 100 miles an hour, so at least he did get a hold of it. It was a ground out, so it wasn't anything that impressive. But at least he did hit the ball hard. And then we see 3 hard hits, 1 barrel, 2 hard hits, 1 barrel. And then a rough day, 2 hard hits, 2 barrels, 3 hard hits, 1 barrel, 2 hard hits, 1 barrel. Like really, really impressive stuff. Just a ton of hard hits up and down the board. So he's on one. That's good. And the pitcher he is going up against is, let me zoom in a little bit here, is the worst pitcher in terms of home run per 9 if we're looking at the last 5 weeks, the last 5 starts, which is not always perfect. But Luis Castillo is pitching for the Mariners, and he's really, really struggled recently. As you can see, he's one of only 2 pitchers on today's slate that have allowed a home run worse than every 20 at-bats. So he's allowed a home run every 15 at-bats in his last 5 starts. That's not good. And he's kind of been equally as bad against righties and lefties. Last year, he was much, much worse against lefties than righties. This year, it's been about the same. Home run every 17 at-bats to righties, every 14 at-bats to lefties. So yeah, slightly worse against lefties, but more so manageable than anything. And you look at him, and his downturn really started on this date here on May 9th. You look at his barrel rate allowed the first 6 starts of the year. Some of them are really bad. 21% is bad, 14% is bad, 10% is below average. But then since then, almost every start except for really 2 have been bad. So you look at his numbers since May 9th, and terrible numbers across the board. 13% barrel rate is really bad. 13.7% is very bad. 64 hard hits with a hard hit rate of 46%. That's bad. And he's allowing batters to put the ball in the air, which obviously is why his barrel rate is so high. But a launch angle of 15.6 degrees. And the average exit velocity being in the 90s is really bad. I mean, these numbers are bad across the board. And Buxton is hitting really well. And despite the fact that their home stadium, Target Field, is generally a pitcher's park, it's not great from a weather perspective. Also not great from a pitching perspective. Buxton has really good numbers, specifically at home. You look at his, he's hit more home runs at home and fewer plate appearances. Now, this is not me saying, oh, he's better at home, don't take him on the road. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that he hits the ball so far that when he hits home runs, a lot of times there are no doubters, and it doesn't matter the stadium. So he could easily go yard at his home stadium. That's play number 1, is Byron Buxton to hit a home run. Next up, play number 2, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. We are taking him to hit a home run. He is best offered at plus 400 odds at FanDuel. Best offered price on Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He's another batter that has been hitting the ball very well. You look at his game logs over the last 10 days, last week or so. I mean, a ton of barrels. I mean, barrel in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games in which he's had a barrel. And he had 2 games with 0 hard hits, 1 game with 1 hard hit. Granted, he did have a barrel in that game. All the other games, multiple hard hits, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3. And you look at his numbers since this slate. It's since June 9th, 6-9, very nice. Barrel rate, as soon as this decides to load. Okay, we'll those of you that watch my channel know Fangraphs does this once a video. So we'll pivot over here. So I'm showing you the worst home run pitchers of the slate for today. Logan Allen is the second one. He is the second pitcher who has a lot of home run, fewer than every 20 at-bats. Now, Logan Allen is technically worse actually against lefties, despite the fact that he is a left-handed pitcher. So you look at his numbers, it's a home run every 27 at-bats to righties, every 8 at-bats to lefties, which is terrible. I mean, that's really bad. The Raptors don't, or not the Raptors, the Blue Jays don't have any lefties that hit lefties hard. So it would have felt like just forcing a pick for the sake of having one if I had gone with a lefty. He can still get hit up by righties. His numbers are not amazing against righties, so it's not like he's anybody that you should be completely scared off of. And Vlad hits lefties really, really well. I mean, you look at his barrel rate on the year, leads the Blue Jays in terms of barrel rate against left-handed pitching. Hard hit rate is good. Fly ball rate is even a little bit better. For Vlad, 25% for him is pretty good. And you look at him over the last month, and those numbers are also really good. I mean, 11% barrel rate, there are some guys with better ones against left-handed pitching over the last month. Granted, if you look at a different source, you look at Plate IQ, 21% on the season, leads the Blue Jays. Last 30 days, they have him third at 13%, so tied with Kirk, and then 2 guys above him. Now, his recent line drive and fly ball rate stuff isn't that great, but against lefties, he does hit the ball in the air a little bit more. And no data is available. Let me refresh this. But yeah, okay, so barrel rate since June 9th, 22%, 22 hard hits, 62.9% hard hit rate. All that stuff is really, really good. And the fly ball rate at 37%. Again, for Vlad, that's not terrible. And then the last thing that I want to mention here is the home run pitches for Logan Allen. The sweeper and the four-seam fastball, that's what gets hit the hardest. You look at him just this season and not just the last 5 weeks. The four-seam fastball as well, but it's really those two. And Vlad has the best numbers against that pitch mix. I mean, it's a tiny sample size, so you don't want to look at the last month, but on the entire season, against the four-seam fastball and the sweeper, the top two pitches that he's going to see, 25% barrel rate, 64% hard hit rate, 35% fly ball rate. Like those are really, really, really good numbers. And you go through the EV logs, you see a lot of green, which is good. If you were spraying the board, the other two guys that I would want to give a shout out to are Alejandro Kirk and Bo Bichette. Both of them have pretty good hard hits over the last 7 and the last 14 days. Like those three lead the Blue Jays, and both Kirk and Bo Bichette have decent numbers against lefties. So you could, again, if you want to spray the board, you could go with them. I'm just going with Vlad because this wasn't quite a let's take 3 batters in the same game type of matchup. So I just wanted to be a little bit safer and just go with Vlad. But that is play number 2. And then our third and final pick of the video, I'm going back to Jackson Merrill. I know that he just burned us yesterday, but he continued to hit the crap out of the baseball. And I really think that he's back and he's going to start hitting home runs like he did at the beginning of the year. You look at his last 2 games, 4 hard hits in each. And these aren't baby hard hits either. He had 1 barrel 2 days ago. And then you go through each and every one of his hard hits yesterday. Let me zoom in a little bit here just to show you. You want to make sure that they're either 100 miles an hour or that they're put in the air. 106.3 miles an hour off the bat. 102.7 line out. And then he had a 101.4 single, and then he had a fly out 95.1. This one needed to be hit a little bit harder, or else it could have been a home run. That was yesterday. And then you look at Sunday, which is why I went with him yesterday. And it's similar. It's 4 hits absolutely crushed. It's double, 109.1 miles an hour off the bat. Fly out, 104.8 miles an hour off the bat, traveled 373 feet. So those 2 were above 100 miles an hour. And then another fly out that traveled 378 feet. That was a home run in 16 of 30 stadiums. He got robbed of a home run in this game. So, and then the other one was not as, the fourth one, yeah, ground out, that's nothing that impressive. But that's what, 6 hits that were above 100 miles an hour or put in the air from Jackson Merrill over the last couple games. That's really impressive. And then, yeah, he had a really, really pronounced cold streak. I mean, for almost the last 2 months, basically, he hasn't been great. But you look at him before he got hurt, back when he was hitting at the beginning of the year, before he got hurt, and then when he first came back, and when we see a ton of barrels, a ton of hard hits, and he was really good to start the year. So I'm kind of thinking we're going to get back to that for Jackson Merrill. And then the pitcher he's going up against, Trevor Williams, is not among the worst pitchers in the world, but he is somebody that really struggles against lefties. I mean, he does not get hit by righties, as you can tell. But against lefties, home run every 23 at-bats is not terrible, but it's definitely not good. The four-seam fastball is his biggest issue. Barrel rate, hard hit rate, line drive rate, fly ball rate, all those numbers are okay. They're not terrible. So this is another situation where it makes sense to take one guy where you really like the batter, but it doesn't make sense to quite spray the board, kind of like what I was talking about with the Blue Jays. And Jackson Merrill, even with the fact that he's been cold for like 2/3 of the season, he still has decent numbers against the four-seam fastball. Now this is against lefties. You want to look at against righties. 9% barrel rate, 40% hard hit rate is not terrible. Gavin Sheets, if you were to take somebody, he would be the other one that you would take. It would be Gavin Sheets because he's got really good numbers against the four-seam fastball from righties. Whereas Jackson Merrill is just okay, and a lot of this damage, like if you look recently, it is admittedly a lot of strikeouts, but at the beginning of the year, he was really hitting them. And then he's been good recently, so I kind of think he's going to go back to that. But yeah, that is my third and final official pick of the video. So 3 guys for you guys to lock in. We're going with Byron Buxton, Jackson Merrill, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., taking all 3 of them to hit a home run. In terms of leans, the guys that I mentioned were Bo Bichette, Alejandro Kirk, and Gavin Sheets were 3 guys in terms of leans. So if you wanted to go with 6, just lower that unit size, you could do so. I did end up putting a parlay on all 3 of these, just using the profit boost, the FanDuel Dinger Tuesday profit boost. I put 0.1 units on all 3 of these guys to hit a home run. So if you wanted to tail that, you can. But that's what we got. I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure to bet responsibly, and have a good one.